Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Shakira Pear. In the headlines, $2.5 million for multi-purpose facility in Stock Farm. Government is committed to the revitalization of Rosa, and government continues to create sustainable healthcare system in Dominica. Details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says government views sports development as a key component of their development agenda. Sports plays an integral part in the development of young people. Government in this financial year has allocated $2.5 million for construction of a multi-purpose sports complex at Stock Farm.
In fiscal year 2020-2021, an amount of $2.5 million has been allocated for the construction of a multi-purpose sports complex at Stock Farm, which will include indoor and outdoor courts, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and tennis courts, and be outfitted with essential amenities to include showers, locker rooms, and the like. Work is expected to commence by the second quarter of this fiscal year. In addition, Mr. Speaker, there are a number of playing fields and hard courts which will be rehabilitated during the fiscal year, including the completion of the Reuben Blackmore Massac hard court.
Meantime, Minister for Sports Honorable Rosalind Paul says provisions have been made towards continuing Phase 4 restoration works at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, which is in excess of $2 million.
Mr. Speaker, provisions have been made towards continued restoration works at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, Phase 4, in the amount of $2.3 million. But, Mr. Speaker, much of the work has started, and we were set on target for international cricket this year, and we continue to put things in place.
Minister Paul says Dominica now has a new electronic scoreboard, which is a basic requirement for international cricket.
I am happy to report that one of the main requirements, which is an electronic scoreboard for international cricket, is here on island. It was purchased at a cost of $600,000 and is awaiting installation. Meantime, the basic works, 2 contracts have been awarded for the works on the base for this installation of the scoreboard.
The minister says equipment for the hard courts, which are located in the forecourt of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, are already on island, and work is expected to be completed this year.
Mr. Speaker, the hard courts were constructed at the forecourt of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. I am happy to report as well that the equipment, all the equipment for the completion of these hard courts at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium are stored at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium and awaiting the completion of works. $750,000 has been budgeted this year to ensure the completion of these hard courts, and I am sure the parliamentary representative and the young people of Rosa will be elated when this is done by the second quarter of this year.
The covering of the Massac hard court is also nearing completion. Minister Paul says this project will aid with decreasing the levels of obstruction faced by athletes who are unable to train during inclement weather conditions.
Works on the Massac indoor facility is ongoing, and it's going on pretty well. For the past few years, the Massac hard court became the main facility for national basketball. Mr. Speaker, Dominica has never had an all-weather sports facility. The absence of such a facility has hindered the development of indoor sports, particularly basketball and netball, as well as volleyball. Many such events have had to be cancelled due to inclement weather or wet courts. So therefore, the covering of the Massac hard court or the development of this indoor facility will reduce the frustration and low motivation of our basketballers, netballers, and other players.
The completion of the facility will also assist with the generation of income in the community.
Covering of this facility will also result in improvement of the standards of play, since our athletes will be exposed to better quality sporting facilities. It will also engender better utilization of resources by both organizers and participating teams. The facility as well in Massac will be a hub, bringing people together for sporting events and therefore creating economic activities for people surrounding these communities.
The sports minister says the $2.3 million National Multi-Purpose Sports Complex in Stock Farm will commence by December 2020.
The National Multi-Purpose Sports Complex at Stock Farm will commence by December 2020, and the $2.5 million is budgeted this year for this project. The final approval for designs and environment impact report is available, and bids for finalizing the designs are currently being solicited. This is to allow, as I say, commencement by end of the year, by December 2020.
3 multi-purpose indoor courts will form part of the sports complex.
The facility will consist of 3 multi-purpose indoor courts for basketball, volleyball, and netball. This is to enable Dominicans to bid for hosting of netball tournaments at the regional, continental, and international levels. A basic requirement for the various age categories is the need for 3 adjacent courts for hosting any tournament. Mr. Speaker, netball is the only all-women sport at which Dominica can participate in at the regional level, and given the continued interest in providing opportunities for women, this multipurpose facility is very welcome and fitting.
Minister Paul elaborated on the features the facility will entail.
The facility shall consist of spectator areas. It will consist of support service areas, including athletes' changing rooms, toilet and washrooms, changing rooms for referees and grade officials, staff room, doping control area, first aid area, physiotherapy room, media room, district administrative offices, hospitality area, storage, training rooms, and a 10-lane Olympic swimming pool. It will also consist of outdoor courts and areas for parking.
She says the 50-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool will create an opportunity for Dominica to host regional events.
In terms of the 15-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool, this will also better position Dominica in terms of hosting regional events. It will allow locals to train under required conditions and standards to compete at the highest level. Mr. Speaker, 50-meter pool will again place us at the top of the list in the region. Only Trinidad has a swimming pool for Olympics, and I do not think it is 50-meter size. So, again, we will be the top in the region.
Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Irving McIntyre, says government is creating a sustainable health system for citizens, specifically within the primary healthcare system. The Minister of Health says creating a sustainable primary healthcare system depends solely on good human resource. Minister McIntyre says last year over 20 community health aides were trained to boost the primary healthcare system.
We've trained 27 last year of these community health aides, and this year we're discussing, actually I had a discussion with PAHO, and we're going to train another set of community health aides, and PAHO is very willing, they're enthusiastic, and that will be starting very soon. So we'll be having more community health aides these are our foot soldiers, and they will be handling that aspect of primary health care. Now, this is very important, because what this does is we put in a health system that is, as I say, sustainable. This is where we have the intervention. This is where we have the preventive measures. We talk about lifestyle adjustments. We talk about diet. We talk about exercise. These are the things that we can put in place to prevent the complications and the tertiary aspects of health. So this is where if we have a strong primary healthcare system, we can limit all these different complications, and it's more cost-effective because we won't have to get to that stage. So that is the importance of the primary healthcare system, and that's where health promotion comes into place.
The health minister says that last week, 24 certified practical nurses graduated from the Dominica State College, which will help the workforce of the Ministry of Health.
Just this week, on Tuesday, we graduated 25 nursing assistants. That is the licensed practical nurses. And we must congratulate these 24 that just graduated. These are nursing assistants. These are the licensed practical nurses. They did very well, and these are going to join the healthcare system. So this is just not only the community health aides, but even nursing assistants. We're training more and more and more because we know we have to put these people out there to do the job for us.
Government has prioritized health care in Dominica with the construction of 12 polyclinics across the island. Some of these polyclinics are completed, while some are nearing completion.
So far, we have completed Bellevue, Chopin, Georgetown, Marigot, and Vickers. And Wesley and Maho will come in August 14th. We should be done of this year. The other two, which is Penville and Bagatelle, will be complete in October 28th. Mr. Speaker, our polyclinic in Penville also has a dental center. You don't hear about those things in developing countries, sister. We have a dental center in a polyclinic here. Then the other four, that is the Newton, Soufriere, Colio, and Ansdime. These will be done. We are acquiring the land, and this will start this year. All this going on in this financial year. Now, Mr. Speaker, these health centers, they have the doctors section, the nurses section, pharmacy, washrooms, waiting areas, and we actually have 2 extra rooms we can use for maternity as well. Let alone that, upstairs of these health centers.
Minister McIntyre was excited to announce the services which will be offered at these polyclinics.
We have the maternal and child health clinics. We have the general morbidity clinics of the non-communicable disease, that is high blood pressure and diabetes and so forth. We have cancer screening going on. We have our immunization program going on. We have our food handlers, pharmacy, home visits. These have been going on, and this will continue because finance has been provided for these ones in this new financial year. The dental care, the home visits, the school promotion, the eye promotion, and the hearing promotion, which I'll mention later in some of the services that I'm going to mention again. And environmental health and health promotion, and all these are going on. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, our immunization program through our healthcare system, we had 95% over the past 10 years of immunization. And the good news is that, can you imagine, we're also getting the HPV vaccine to all our 11 and 12-year-olds and our grade 5, such that PAHO, not OECS or CARICOM, PAHO has selected Dominica for the immunization week of the Americas. And we're supposed to have a function here.
All services at the primary healthcare centers are free of charge to all citizens. The Dominica Labour Party, in its 2019 manifesto, stated that the country is defined by its capital city. Therefore, government has started the revitalization of the city with the Rosa Enhancement Program. The Rosa Enhancement Program will ensure that Rosa becomes a place in which people are proud to live and work. Member of Parliament for the Rosa Central Constituency, Honorable Melissa Popon-Skerrit, says she is committed to the completion of this project. Honorable Skerrit spoke of the transformation of the Botanic Gardens.
The Rosa Enhancement Project commenced last fiscal year with the rehabilitation of the section of riverbank. And during this coming year, God willing, we will see the construction of a bypass road running from east to west along the southern border of the Botanic Gardens. Part of the vision of this government is to undertake the transformation of the Botanic Garden into an oasis of safety, calm, and beauty for all to enjoy. With the construction of the bypass road, we will be able to make the Botanic Gardens vehicle-free. The construction of a two-way bypass road will also significantly reduce traffic congestion in the city.
In this financial year, a 140-meter wall will be constructed along the southern bank of the Rosa River between the EC Low Black Bridge and the Goodwill Link Road Bridge.
This will not only enhance the aesthetics of the city, but it will complete the southern river defense walls, mitigating against the risk of flooding in the city. And I say to my people of Riverbank, once this wall is constructed, you will no doubt be much safer and sleep much better during the hurricane season.
The Rosa River Promenade is another major project which will enhance services in the city.
The newly completed Rosa River Promenade is just another example of government in action. It not only enhances the aesthetics of the city, but it provides avenues for commerce with the installation of vending stalls. This area will continue to provide business opportunities for ordinary people, and for many people in Rosa, it will no doubt take advantage of the opportunity presented.
Over the past months, the rehabilitation of many roads have been witnessed in the capital, and government has spent millions of dollars for these projects. The Member of Parliament expressed her gratitude to the government on behalf of her constituents.
The streets of Rosa, Mr. Speaker, are also being resurfaced. In fact, if you drive through the main arteries in Rosa, like King George V Street, Kennedy Avenue, and Victoria Street and High Street, you would have noticed that many of the streets have already been resurfaced. And Mr. Speaker, you would also be remiss of me not to mention the newly resurfaced roads in the Rosa North constituency. Dupany Lane, Rose Street, Downing Gap, Hummingbird Avenue. Mr. Speaker, I traverse this area quite often, and I must say that that constituency has some of the best roads in Dominica.
Member of Parliament for the Granford constituency, Honorable Greta Roberts, says the government of Dominica has placed emphasis on housing in her constituency. Last month, 65 families received keys to their climate-resilient new homes constructed by the government of Dominica through the Citizenship by Investment program. Honorable Roberts says following the 2020-2021 budget, work will resume on housing in that constituency. The minister says government has also heavily invested in the road network in that part of the island, specifically in her constituency. She told her constituents that numerous road projects will be undertaken in this financial year.
This government will also be long remembered as the government which built and rehabilitated road networks across the island. It is with joy that I inform my constituents and all those who traverse the Odalis Road, which is just near the entrance to Three Rivers, that we will soon begin the slope stabilization and river protection works in the area at a cost of well over $6 million. This, Mr. Speaker, is a necessity, for it is the only road the only road network linking the communities of Grand Fond, Rivière-Syriac, Montjean, La Plaine, Bourtica, and Délices to other parts of the island, including the city.
A new water system will be constructed to serve the Grand Fond constituency. The Member of Parliament says this will bring relief to her constituents as a water shortage is a problem in that area.
Mr. Speaker, what I'm about to mention will certainly bring cheer to the hearts and minds of the people of the entire constituency. Mr. Speaker, we have been faced with constant water interruptions, especially following heavy rains. And for those of you who know Grand Fond pretty well, that is almost every other day. I applaud Elwin Astry and his team from Dowasco, who have worked tirelessly to provide water during these challenging times. Let me assure you, my constituents, that consultations have been held with the relevant authorities on the matter, and this project has been placed on the high priority list of projects to be done during the financial year. Mr. Speaker, this is surely good news for Modern Man, because this resilient water system is not only going to supply Grand Fond, but for all the other communities of Montjean and Rivière-Syriac as well.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Scary! Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking, then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SEDERA.
Welcome back. Plans are on the way for the improvement of sporting accommodations in the Rosa South constituency. Parliamentary representative for the Rosa South constituency, Honorable Shekira Lockhart Hippolyte, says the 2020-2021 national budget includes projects which will enhance the sporting facilities in her constituency.
In the area of sports, renovation of all sporting facilities, relighting of the Mecca, the Harlem, Newtown, Savannah.
The lighting of the Newtown playing field, which was funded by Federation International Football Association, FIFA, will cost a total of $200,000 and will commence in August of 2020.
And I'd like to thank FIFA. I met with the president of the DFA, and he assured me that works will begin on the lighting sometime in August, Mr. Speaker, and this will cost $200,000. I want to thank the government of Dominica for facilitating this process.
Honorable Hippolyte says the pavilion at the Girardel playing field will also be completed.
The redevelopment of the Loubier, Girardel and Egliston, Kings Hill playing fields. The Girardel Pavilion, which commenced a few years ago, will be completed.
The Rosa South parliamentary representative reassured residents of Bath Estate that a basketball court, which will cost a total of $312,000, will be developed.
The development of a modernized basketball court in Bath Estate. Mr. Speaker, this basketball court cost $312,000, but we intend to take a phased approach to building this basketball court. And I am pleased
to tell the people, especially the young men of Bath Estate, who normally goes to the Bath Road basketball court and sometimes at Goodwill to play basketball, that works will commence on the modernized Bath Estate basketball court.
Meantime, sporting leagues in each district of the Rosa South constituency will be reintroduced.
Half court at Kings Hill and the covering of the Kings Hill Community Center will commence in the first quarter of this financial year. The reintroduction of local sporting leagues in each district.
24 health professionals will now be able to begin their career in the health system as they receive their pins and caps as certified practical nurses. The ceremony took place at the Berean Bible Baptist Church in Bath Estate. The completion of this course for these nurses is one that is much needed in Dominica as the world continues to battle the COVID-19 pandemic. President of the Dominica State College, Dr. Donald Peters, congratulated the nurses on their achievements. He had these words of advice for the graduates.
What I've noticed in the press is that some nurses are getting bad reviews, and I want to tell these young nurses that I don't know why, because my history and the history of nursing is that they're sensitive, warm, caring. These are attributes of a nurse. And I want you to be mindful of this. You have all the skills and training that you need. We're not worried about your competency. We're worried about what you bring into the hospitals or the nursing facilities where you work. That you treat people with respect, with integrity, and you go the extra mile. Maybe we can go back to the old days of Florence Nightingale and be the Florence Nightingale of the future, so that when other nurses graduate, they will follow your footsteps. And I will stop reading about bad nurses at the hospital.
Mrs. Vania Bruni-Loblack was the motivational speaker. Mrs. Loblack is a matron at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital and has been in the nursing service for 32 years. Mrs. Loblack told the nurses that the journey to this accomplishment was not easy. She encouraged them to aspire to a higher level in the nursing field.
You will all, without a doubt, be faced with challenges and problems throughout your own journeys as practical nurses and later, I hope, as RNs. With any choice, however, that you make, your education is never over. Embrace every opportunity to grow and learn. I believe that you are well prepared and ready to start this new journey. It was Paulo, the Brazilian lyricist and novelist, who said, "Straight roads do not make skillful drivers, but I say, straight and flat roads do not make competent nurses." Do you agree?
Mrs. Loblack encouraged them to be advocates for their patients and always show compassion towards them.
Let me encourage you to be advocates for your patients, to be compassionate and kind to each of them, to aspire to make a difference, to be willing to listen and open to constructive criticism, to keep learning along the way, to communicate effectively, to be flexible, to be willing to go the extra mile, like Dr. Peter said, for your patients and for the nursing service.
Alice John Hope was the top student, receiving the highest grade point average. Lucille Hannah Francis got the award for leadership and team spirit, and Yolanda Thomas received the award for excellence in clinical practice. Dominica continues to boast of the longevity of its citizens as 2 women have joined the elite group of centenarians. Anne Lavenir of Fort Saint-Jean and Mona Lestrade of Montrachet celebrated their 100th birthday on Saturday, July 25th. Miss Lavenir celebrated her day surrounded by family and friends with a mass at the Bagatelle Catholic Chapel.
Today we gather to say thank you to God, the giver of life, for Anne. Very often we come to Anne's house to give her Holy Communion, and she makes us laugh a lot. Anne looks very well for her age. And look at it, Gary. Looks very well. And as she's getting older, she's looking better. You know, because Anne has good care. Anne has good care. Take a bow, sister. Take a bow. She has very good care.
Father John says Anne's longevity is a result of her strong faith in God.
Anne is a woman of faith, a woman who believes, which is something that we underestimate when it comes to longevity. Faith. Putting our trust and our faith in God. That does a lot for your health and well-being. Because if you are a person of faith, a person who believes, a person who trusts God, then a lot of things that stress out ordinary people who don't believe will not stress you out. Because you will understand that everything is in the hands of God. That ultimately God is in control. And whatever He allows to come to me, there's a reason for it. So I surrender myself, my life, everything that happens to me, I surrender that into the hands of God.
Meantime, the family and friends of Mona Lestrade, also known as Ma Mona, was pleased to celebrate her 100th birthday with her. She started off her day with a Thanksgiving Mass, followed by a get-together with family and friends. Son-in-law Alvin Lewis spoke of some of the things Ma Mona did in her earlier days.
She exercised a lot because there had no vehicles here before, and she used to walk to Moko Street, walk back, you know, with a basket on her head and these things. She used to climb here. We had no vehicles. There was a road going down to Batterley, and she walked from Batterley to up here almost every day. No water. They had to go for water down there also at Batterley. And she used to walk up with her until Daddy always decided to put a tank for her by the house. She exercised a lot. She used to go up in garden almost every day from here to Moko Street. And they call the garden name Moko Street Monkako.
Dominica currently has 25 centenarians. And now for your weather update. A tropical wave is expected to generate shower and possible thunderstorm activity across parts of the Lesser Antilles. An improvement in conditions is anticipated across Dominica. An increase in dust haze concentration is also expected across the area. People with respiratory illnesses should take the necessary precautions to minimize complications. Tonight into Saturday, another tropical wave is expected to affect mainly the southern Windward Islands. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours, with waves peaking near 7 feet. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Shakira Pear. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.